Like, how's life been here in Bloomington?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a whirlwind as you're getting a team and roster, staff all put together. But now it's coaching basketball, and it's that time of year where we're getting closer and closer to exhibition games and real games. So you can feel the excitement not only from people around the community, but our team. They're ready to go. They're ready to get back out there.
So how many people have called you Darian since you've been here?
I'd say it's about 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, we just
you still don't.
Yeah.
I can't believe you don't correct anybody.
It's just easier to go with it, if we wanted to, just go like DAR, I should just change the spelling if I wanted to not correct it.
I want to know, where did your parents get that spelling from?
I'm not really sure. I was told that they wanted to keep the mail straight. And now I come from a town of 1,000 people, and you can understand there's probably a lot of Darian DeVries there. So, very smart thinking by my parents.
When you decided to take this opportunity, when you decided to come take the Indiana job, what was it about this program, and what was it about everything that goes into the history of Indiana basketball that maybe you didn't realize until you got here? Right? What is new about this place that you have not experienced before?
Well, I think the number one thing is you just look up in Assembly Hall and you see the banners, right? And you understand the brand of Indiana. If you're a basketball person, you know what that means. And when you come here, it's everything that you would think it would be. I know as an assistant coach when I was at Creighton, we played here, so we got to experience it firsthand on the opposing side of the bench. So I'm glad to be on the other side of the sidelines now. And it's everything, from a fan standpoint, resources and commitment. It's an incredible place, and we couldn't be more excited.
Are you ready to see 17,000 people in here?
Yeah, we cannot wait. It's just one of the most unique and exciting venues in all of college basketball. And when it's full and rocking, it's as loud as it gets anywhere in the country.
So you're described as a ball coach. That's what, if I talk to Greg McDermott, Dana Altman, who kind of gave you your start at Creighton, they will all say you are a ball coach. You are as good a ball coach as there is out there. How do you describe your coaching style to Indiana fans that don't really know you yet?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, first of all, you mentioned two incredible guys to learn from in Dana Altman and Greg McDermott. So, you take a lot from that and over the years, and then you apply kind of your own personality to it. But I think for the most part, we come in every day and we try to have a certain energy level about the way we approach practice, and we want a June practice to look like a February 20th practice, and it should sound and feel the same all the way through. And I think our guys really embrace that. We try to keep it fun and upbeat, and we're not going to be out here for 3 hours, but the time we're out here, we want it to be really up-tempo, up-pace, and with a lot of energy into it.
And efficient, too. Yeah, efficient. We saw that today. It's quick, man. You got 6 minutes on the clock, and as soon as you're done, it's boom, you're running on to the next thing.
Well, because he's not the type. You can see it, and even when you talk to you, you're not the type that's going to just talk to talk. Right? I mean, that's just not you.
Yeah, I don't think everybody's accused me of like trying to cut me off from talking too long. I know that. So
I do that to him a lot.
Right.
A lot.
So I don't get cut off that often. They're like trying to get more out of me. But we're very intentional. Like we want our guys. Like I don't spend a lot of time lecturing to them. We want to teach. We want to get to the point. And we want to move on. And that's how we try to do everything that we do on the practice floor. Is also with that kind of thing in mind.
How long did it take to get this group used to that style of practicing and used to the verbiage that you use and used to, there's things that you do where everybody is calling out while you're practicing, while you're doing different drills. How long did it take these guys to kind of pick up on what you expect out of it? Because, it's a new group. Right?
Yeah, it really doesn't take very long. Early on, some of the drills we do, we have everybody echo the drills when we call them out. And then the guys just learn how to communicate at a high level in everything they do. But you see how fast, like even for a team like as many new guys as there are, they've all picked it up very quickly. They all kind of embrace the fact that we're not going to be out here for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So they don't have to pace themselves. They know exactly the amount of time that we're going to be here. So they can go as full speed as they can for the entire amount of time we're there.
Does it help that you have guys that have been in college for 5 and 6 years?
Yeah, that does help. There's also sometimes because everybody's got different verbiage or different ways they do things. So when you get somebody that maybe has been here for 5 years, maybe they denied the wing, and we do it a little bit different. So some of those habits take time to break, and we understand that, and we let them kind of work through that. We don't expect them to fix it on day one, but the guys do a really good job of communicating with each other, leading each other to help them kind of get through the drills and understand what we're trying to do.
All right, let's get the update first on your son Tucker. Let's get that out of the way. Obviously, last season shut it down after about 9 or 10 games with a shoulder injury. He's gone through that a few times over the course of his career. I'm not going to ask you how his golf game is because I know he kicks your butt, but how's he feeling? So he was out there today. He looks pretty darn good. I know he played in the Puerto Rico trip, then had a little bit of a heel injury, but how's he looking, and what do you expect out of him at Indiana, maybe compared to his role the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for him is probably the first time in 3 years he's actually been healthy, and it's been a long road for him. So I know he's excited to hopefully, stay that way and be able to complete a whole season and be able to perform, with a healthy shoulder. So that's the biggest thing for him. He was able to kind of get everything right after the surgery again. And, for those that have been athletes and been through multiple surgeries, you know how frustrating that can be and time consuming it is to try to do the rehab and start all over again. So we're excited about where he's at right now. I know he's excited to get back out there and play again.
You obviously coached for Greg McDermott, whose son, Doug, was one of the greatest college basketball players that we've seen. When you guys made the decision that Tucker was going to end up playing for you in college, what did you take from him? What did you talk to him about to how to make that process a little bit easier?
Yeah, Doug McDermott is one of the best players to ever play the game. It was an incredible joy to be on the sideline watching him and his dad do their thing together. And for us, we understood that you might not be Doug McDermott, but we want to make this an enjoyable time for us. So let's make the basketball, and then we're off the floor. We can still be father-son. That's still okay. And we really tried to do a good job of separating the two as we've gone through this, and we've really enjoyed it. It's been for those that get the opportunity to experience being able to coach your son in college. It's something that I know neither one of us will never forget, and we'll always remember all the good times. And most of it's usually not the basketball games; it's all the other things that come with it.
So I'm coaching my son now in both basketball and baseball, and he's 10 years old. So my question is, at what point did he actually start listening to you? Because right now, it's if anybody else tells my kids to do something, they do it. If it comes from me, they do the exact opposite.
I think there's a lot of those father-son relationships that don't always go well in coaching either. So, I don't know. I've tried really hard when he was growing up to not coach him. So maybe that's part of it, just be a fan and be a parent, and now getting the opportunity to coach it. I just think, it's like for me, being very intentional about like when he's out there, he's just one of the other guys, and coach him just like everybody else. And he probably goes back to the locker room and complains like everybody else. About,
I hope he does.
His coaches as well. So
he better pile on.
I'm sure he does. I know that was one of the things Greg McDermott told his son Doug. Like, go ahead, you go back in the locker room. Feel free to join in. Like that's normal. Yeah. You can have at it too. So, but that's just the way it should be. It's he needs to have his space when he goes back, and he's just one of the guys, and I certainly respect that.
When you took the job, I think a lot of people, myself included, were wondering, like, is he going to have the resources? Is he going to really have them? Because one of the knocks on Indiana was they're behind. Tradition meant so much. It was always, well, are they going to be able to, catch up? Well, they gave you the resources year one. How surprised were you that you were able to get them and put together a roster that looks like, hey, hopefully you can make the NCAA tournament and be a player in the Big Ten this year?
Yeah, I think, when you think about Indiana basketball and what it means to this state, the resources, the commitment level, it's there. And people want this program to be successful, and they're trying to do everything they can to give us, what we need to try to get there. So, administration, from the president, the athletic director on down, everybody's on board with trying to do everything we can to make sure that we can be, not only competitive, but competitive at a high level year in, year out.
You did. You put together a team that has older guys. Obviously, Connor Wade comes from Troy, and I think he's probably older than Doster at this point. Lamar Wilkerson has played a long time in college. Reed Bailey, 3 years at Davidson. Your son's played a while. What went into putting this team together, and what can fans expect when they watch this team on the court? Because to me, I'm watching practice, I'm like, a lot of these dudes can make shots, a lot of them.
Yeah, we were very intentional. Like when you take a job and you don't have a lot of guys on the roster currently, we wanted to put together a team and not just collect a lot of individuals. So we wanted to make sure that the guys complemented each other, they could play off of one another. And I've really been pleased with how it's turned out to this point. We haven't played a game yet, but I like our group. I think they're really committed to winning, playing unselfish, sharing the ball, all the things that are going to matter when you do get into conference play and things, and you're trying to win a Big Ten championship. Is those guys, you got to be really connected at both ends of the floor, and I like the commitment level that our guys have shown this far.
Yeah, the thing that's going to be fascinating to me about this group is. Felt like one of the complaints that we had about Indiana last year was not really playing, 5 out, sometimes playing 2 bigs at the same time, not shooting enough threes. And I go and I look and I see that Tucker shot like 7.5 threes per game last season, a 40% clip. And Lamar shot more than 8 threes a game at a 40% clip. And Nick Dorn, who we didn't see practice today, shot more than 8 threes a game. And Josiah Miles shot 7.5 threes a game. And it feels like you like a team that has a bunch of guys that could get them up and can throw some threes in.
Yeah, based on the info, it sounds like we're going to shoot a lot of threes, right? So,
breaking news.
Yeah, breaking.
Right.
Yeah, we want to space it. We want to get them up. We want to play in transition. We want to play in the open floor. So, again, we tried to recruit to that, and I like the depth that we have in the shooting department. I think we have a lot of guys that can make them.
My favorite part about that, too, is that we saw Reed Bailey out here, and it was the first time that I've seen him playing with you guys. And the way that you could use him at the 5, the fact that he gives you basically another point guard on the floor, some of the 5-man stuff that you can run. Like, I'm sure that you, not to compare him to Nikola Jokic, but when you have a guy that's that size at the 5 that can pass, it creates a lot of different opportunities for a lot of different players. I got to imagine you're sitting here, and when you go to sleep at night, you can imagine some of the sets that you can run for a dude that can pass like that.
Yeah, it's been exciting because he is unique in his skill set. So, myself and our staff, I've challenged them all, like, think outside the box on different ways we can utilize his talent because it is a unique talent. And he's one of those guys at 6'10", 6'11", as you saw today. He handles like a guard. He moves like a guard. So trying to put him in maybe some spaces where he can utilize kind of his talents at his size and play that to our advantage.
He's bigger than I thought. Right, like sometimes you see 6'10" listed on a roster, and you're like, yeah, so he's probably what, like 6'7" and a half. No, he's big.
Yeah, he's legit size, and he's athletic, and like I said, he can really run the floor. So we're excited about what he's done, this summer and fall, and we got to continue to find more creative ways to utilize him.
Have you had a guy like that before anywhere?
Not quite like him. You always have guys that are a little bit different, and every player's kind of got their own unique skill. But he's one of those guys that I was telling Jeff earlier, like, in Iowa State, they utilize it. They're big, bringing it up for a long time there. So we're trying to find a ways to incorporate some of those things, too, because he can really do that and make decisions off of it as well.
Yeah, you compared him to George Niang. As long as he doesn't talk as much as George Niang, we're okay. What do you worry about with this group? The one thing when I look at this group, I'm like, again, you can make shots from everywhere. You've got experience. I think you got culture guys, too. I think you brought in, we spent some time, certainly with Tate and Lamar. I know your son Tucker. I know Reed. You've got culture guys that I think will buy into Indiana basketball, which, frankly, the last couple of years might have been a little bit of a knock on Indiana basketball. What do you worry about? One thing I look out, I'm like, do they have that rim protector? Is that something that concerns you a little bit, and how do you almost get away without having a big-time rim protector?
Yeah, I think the rim protection, we don't have a lot of it. We don't have an elite-level shot blocker, but to me, it just means you got to be more connected as a defense to keep people out of the paint so you're not put in those situations as often. It's still going to happen. Yeah. It's just the reality of it. But, for us to be successful on the defensive end without that lack of rim protection is just having a group that is really kind of tough out on the perimeter and not giving up a lot of straight line drives where you're forced to utilize a shot blocker.
I think the really interesting thing about the Indiana program where it is right now is that you can never match the passion that you're going to find here, but it's also been a while since they've been at that level, and it feels like sometimes the patience may not be there waiting for the program to get built, right? And when you bring in 11 new guys, I mean, obviously you've had 2 players before, but when you bring in this many new guys into the program, sometimes it takes a little while to get acclimated. How important was it to get that trip to the Bahamas, to get those extra practices?
Puerto Rico.
To get those extra practices, to get those extra games, to get those extra reps, to, the off the court stuff, so these guys actually feel like they know each other, and it's not just a bunch of dudes that have been put on the same roster.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome for us because not only did we have a great experience and they got to do, a lot of different things together as a whole group, which is hard to do when you got guys in the portal at different ages. You got freshmen, so just a lot of guys at different stages, even in their young adult life, but they're on different stages of their college lives in terms of how much do they socialize as a group. So for us to go down to Puerto Rico and hang out together and go, jet skiing and go snorkeling and play beach volleyball, all those type of things are
Notice how he didn't say blackjack.
Yeah, no, none of that, I'm sure.
Oh, none of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tucker was down there playing a little blackjack. Come on.
I can't confirm or deny, any of them. So, but we had a great time. And then the basketball, we really got challenged down there, too. So we were able to get a lot of stuff on tape, both good and bad, that we could learn from and take when we came back after this summer break to start into the fall and say, okay, here's where we thought we were. Here's some things we're doing really well. Here's some things we got to really clean up as we head into non-conference play.
So what was the biggest takeaway from that trip? Because you played good teams. You beat, good teams in close games.
I thought the biggest thing is we had a lot of guys contribute, and what I was most pleased with, we didn't really shoot it that well for what I think we're capable of and could be this season, but we were still able to keep competing and find a way to win some hard-fought games despite shooting it well, because you're going to have nights where you don't. So I was actually most pleased with that. Hey, we didn't actually play that great, didn't shoot it great, which I think is our strength of ours, and we were still come from 20 down and find a way to win a game.
You've coached 2 of the best shooters in maybe in college basketball history, in Kyle Korver and Doug McDermott. Where does Lamar Wilkerson stand in terms of practice so far? Obviously, his numbers stack up pretty well as I think he was 45 last year. Where does he stack up?
Yeah, he's right up there. I mean, Kyle and Doug, it's hard to put somebody in those categories because they're 2 of the best ever. But when you watch a shooting drill with Lamar, it's like, wow.
Everyone.
Well, we watched one today.
Yeah, he can get on a real heater and 45 to 50 in a row type stuff, and that's pretty fun to watch. And he's really works at it, so it's not by accident. Like all great shooters, Kyle and Doug they didn't just show up. They worked at it. They perfected their craft, and he puts a lot of time into it as well.
Are we just going to sit here and pretend like Ethan Rogge didn't exist on those teams? He was the best shooter on that team.
He was an elite shooter. Rogge could.
Some Rogge bombs. I miss some Rogge bombs.
He shot 41%.
The lumberjack.
Yeah.
The lumberjack.
You know who shot 41% in their in their career from 3?
Oh,
this guy.
You did?
It's true.
Is that accurate?
It's accurate.
Oh.
I mean, I might be making it up, but I think it's accurate.
Let's roll with that.
No, I think it's accurate. We got to have him tell the story. There was a story years ago. Where I think they were playing.
He just got nervous.
Yeah, they were playing.
No. Oh no, where's going to be going with this?
They're playing Creighton. He played for UNI. They're playing Creighton, and there was something about him talking a little bit of. He comes down. He hits, I think, 3 straight threes.
You shushed the crowd.
You shushed the crowd?
Yeah.
Is this true?
Which when you're 8 and 22, I don't know if that's probably the greatest idea in the world. We would come in. They had a really good crowd that night. It was their senior night, and made a few threes and decided to, give a little shush to the bench. I don't think I found out more after the fact. I don't think Coach Altman was a big fan of that.
Oh, I'm sure he wasn't.
Yeah. We came out after halftime. I found all this out later. He got after the team a little bit about me not getting any more opportunities. That was the last of my scoring for the night, by the way. It was shut down after that.
The best part of the story is finishes that's your final season of college basketball, and then Dane Altman hires him as a GA. So he walks into the building in Creighton the next year, and they weren't too happy to see
had
you.
A few of the guys going. I walked down in, after gotten hired. They were all down there lifting, and I walked in, and let's say there was a few scowls on their faces of like, well, what is this guy doing here?
How did we hire this guy?
What is Coach doing? So, but yeah, that was it was a fun story, and a lot of those guys, terrific friends with now. But I think that first day or two, there were some question marks.
Just some health update stuff from you guys. Nick Dorn, foot, is he was out there doing a little bit of 5-on-0 stuff. Is he getting closer to getting back?
Yeah, he's getting closer and closer. We're continuing to ramp him up a little bit, but it's still going to be a little while before we get into some of those live, 5-on-5 type situations. But he's making progress, so that's a good thing.
And he had the Jones fracture a while ago, right? Last year.
Yeah, he had one last year, and then they had to actually go back in and redo it. So
and he'll give you some real shooting when he gets healthy. The hope is that he'll give you some more shooting coming off the bench.
No, he looks great, and you watch him running right now. I mean, he looks like he should be middle linebacker somewhere. He should be playing on Saturday here this upcoming weekend. But
was it like that before the foot injury, or was that a result of having a foot injury later?
No, I think he's been like that. It's just this is the first time I've got to see him run in person because he's been in the boot a lot. So. I don't want to stand in his way, but we could throw him out there on Saturday. I think he'd hold his own just fine.
And then Josiah Miles, the shoulder, and Drake, blanking on his name, with the toe injury.
They should both be back. Josiah, sooner than later, and Deuce will still be a little while yet. He's got probably another month or so before he starts getting back into things.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I did some major digging. I mean,
This is what he does.
Like when I want to play reporter, I'm going to dig. And I dug. So everybody calls him D-Rock. Everybody. Like any coach in the business is going to call you D-Rock. So I'm like, where did this come from? I hit McDermott. I don't know. I hit Dana Altman. I don't know. I hit every damn assistant you've been with. I don't know. Nobody on this court knows. So give me it.
Yeah, I like the fact that you don't know either now. Like you tried your hardest. You called everybody you could possibly call.
Is this an X-rated story?
No.
You're not gonna give it up.
No, I'm
going to keep it secretive forever.
Yeah. Okay, you keep asking.
Does your kid call you D-Rock?
No.
What is it? Coach, Dad,
There's
D-Rock?
a lot of names. Yeah. Depends on how he's feeling that day, right? It used to be just Yo. Hey, Yo.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Doug called Greg Mack, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, for the most part.
Right?
Yeah. I think he had some other names too.
Yeah, when he wasn't getting, getting, trust me, he was getting enough shots. He didn't have to complain that much.
I don't think he had to complain a lot.
No, he definitely did not.
The thing that's interesting, since you mentioned Tucker, is I remember talking with Steve Alford about coaching Bryce, and he said that one of the hardest parts of doing that was the immediate place that people go if Tucker doesn't have a good game is, it's daddy ball. He's just letting his son shoot all the shots. How do you navigate that? Like it's got to be a little bit more. It's not just like a normal play, right? You got.
Have you learned anything over the years? Because he was so dominant at Drake. Like he was a two-time Missouri Valley Player of the Year. It's a little bit different now at Indiana. You've got other. I don't want to say really good players. You have really good players at Drake, but the talent level is certainly a little bit better here.
I think the biggest thing, very similar to Doug at Creighton, like the whole key to it all is you got to have great teammates. And when you have great teammates, they know what goes on in the locker room, what goes on the practice floor every day. So they're just trying to win. And I know Doug McDermott at Creighton had incredible teammates, and Tucker at both Drake and West Virginia had unbelievable teammates of like, hey, he was just one of the guys, and they're all just trying to win. And that's the most important piece. And when you have that, it makes everything a lot easier. And, we've been very fortunate, as did Doug, but Tucker's been very fortunate to have incredible teammates at both Drake and West Virginia and here at Indiana.
Yeah, and if you're winning, that's all that really matters, right? People don't have any criticisms.
Everything. I mean, that's.
Has it hit you? I mean, when you look up there at those banners and you see the history of Indiana basketball, and again, it's funny because a lot of the kids these days, they haven't lived through that, right? They don't necessarily think of Indiana basketball like we think. How old are you?
50.
Yes, me too. Right. He's a little bit younger, so he's kind of in that middle. He's in that middle.
First of all, don't lie. You're older than 50. There's a 5 in front, but you're older than 50.
I'm a little bit older than him. Not much. I'm not much. He'll tweet out, I'm 60 or something. I'm not that old.
But everyone believes it.
I know. It's bullshit. The gray hair doesn't help. Gray hair does not help. But has it hit you yet that you're the Indiana basketball head coach? Because as a kid growing up in Iowa, as a coach who has grinded it out for a long time, got your opportunity at Drake, that you're coaching Indiana basketball?
Not really. I mean, you think about it, it's like that dream job. But then when you get in it, it's like now I just want to do my job, you know, and I want to do it at the highest level I can and work as hard as I can to make us successful and win games. And you know, once you get into that, it's like now you're just coaching and you're doing everything you can to the best of your ability. But you know, for someone that when you're first starting out, this is what you dream of, is to be in this situation, to be in this building, and you know, have the type of, you know, support we have to try to go, you know, continue on not only the great history, but now build a new history for us.
So the one thing is, you know, when he got high major job, everybody's like, oh man, Darren's finally getting paid now, right? It's going to completely change his life. What people don't know, this dude owns like supermarkets, right? Like you're
Yeah, we have some.
You've been rolling in cash for a long time.
I don't
Who
know
you
about
kidding?
that. If you anybody that knows the grocery store business, that's not how that
It's not lucrative.
It's a hard business, which we found out. But
How did this start?
yeah, it started. We had our hometown in Applington, Parkersburg, the town of Parkersburg. The grocery store got destroyed by a tornado. So we got approached by the previous owners of, hey, they didn't want to rebuild.
It's you and your brother.
redo it.
You and your brother.
A couple brothers, yep. So we're like, we don't know anything about groceries, you know. Like we go to the grocery store and we go buy, you know, Tombstone pizzas. That's about what we know. So, but they're like, hey, we'll help you. Like we'll manage it for you and stuff. Just get it started. And that's kind of how it started. And then some other small towns in the state of Iowa were like, hey, we'd like a grocery store. And then it just kind of like, all right, we just kept going. So
How many you got now?
we got a good number. I think it's
7 or 8?
yeah, we're around 16.
16.
Yeah. So we're in Kansas and
You need a
Missouri,
partner?
in Iowa.
You need a partner
Yeah,
for
we
the
got a couple we'd give to you actually.
They must not be making money if you're ready to give them to me.
No, that's yeah, but it's been great. I think what we've loved about it the most is like, yeah, it's a business and all that stuff. But you know, grew up in small town Iowa to be a part of a lot of small communities, and you know, that's an important thing in small communities. You know, a grocery store, a school, you know, churches, like all those type of things are very vital to their continuing to, you know, stay alive.
So, Field of 68. One thing that was the constant theme this entire summer was NCAA tournament expansion. I think you have a very interesting perspective on this because you spent time at Creighton, at Drake, in a conference where maybe tournament-worthy teams weren't able to get in for different reasons, Indiana State. And then you've been at the power conference level, right? Creighton ended up being in the Big East before you left, and you've been at West Virginia in the Big 12. Do you want the tournament to expand? Do you think that is the right move?
You know, I'm okay with whatever they decide. That to me is like you got to prove yourself and work your way into it. If it's 64 teams, you know, find a way to get in there. If it's 68, find a way to get in there. If they expand it, find a way to get in there. And you know, that's your whole goal. Every team's goal at the beginning of the year is let's get into that tournament and then let's go make a run. And that's you know, our goal every single year is to try to find a way to make yourself into the tournament, and then you give yourself the best chance to go make a run while you're in it.
That was, by the way, that was a great PR answer right there.
Smart.
That was
Smart.
great. Yeah. Don't pick a side, but make it seem
Don't
like
get
you're
yourself
saying
into
something.
trouble at all.
Yeah, there you go. Good job. Great work. He's ready for this job.
Well, yeah, no doubt. He's been doing this long enough. You know, with everything that's happened now, with rev share coming in next year, this year was kind of a unlimited whatever you wanted to do is kind of a free for all. This year, next year, rev share comes in. We were talking about this before practice. Hayner said this a few weeks ago. You guys just want rules. You just want to know what you're dealing with, don't you? I mean, now I say this, and then you guys will complain whatever they put in. But you do want some sort of guidelines and rules so that you know what you're dealing with. Because right now, you really don't. Even with rev share coming in, you have a number, I know, and the third party go, whatever it is, that's in place. But we don't really know what next year is going to look like yet, right?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, and that's the biggest frustration amongst all coaches. And to be honest, even like the players like that are being recruited and agents and everybody else is, what are the rules? So that, hey, tell us what they are so we can operate and you know, go by what's in front of us. So But the lack of clarity right now is really, really challenging for everybody that's involved. So, once you know, we'll still complain about it, but at least you know what you're complaining about. And that's the biggest thing for, I think, everybody in the profession right now. Just give us what it is so then we can, make decisions based off of that.
The last thing I got for you is we mentioned it earlier. You coached with Dana Altman. You coached with Greg McDermott, which is about two of as good of coaches as you can learn from in this business. What is something that you've kind of taken from each of them beyond just like the typical X's and O's, like I want to run this set, I like running this play. What are things that you've learned from kind of how they run a program that you see yourself implementing now?
Yeah, I think the number one thing was just the consistency at which they did it, whether it was practice or games or whatever. And both of them are different in how they go about it, but still like very similar in how effective they are for certain reasons. Like you knew exactly what they were going to be like every day and what their expectations were and how they were going to operate a practice and their, a game situation, all those type of things. They just were like never wavered. And all the years that I was with either one of them, they were really consistent on what they felt was important to them and winning and having a culture that would lead to that type of success.
What are realistic expectations for this team this year? Like, have you thought about that?
Yeah, obviously you have fans ask you that, like, are we going to get the tournament? Are we going to do this like that? Our whole thing is just like staying like where we're at right now, and if you get good at the things that we feel like we need to be good at to be successful as a group, the wins are going to come. How many we don't know yet, but if we'll get great at them, now you have a chance to achieve at an even higher level. If you don't, your success is probably not going to be where you want it to be. And that's our challenge, like especially when you have a whole new group like this, is to get that buy-in of like from everybody of like, okay, there's roles and all these things got to get established. But this group has been tremendous, in everything that we've thrown at them to this point. And we haven't started playing real games yet.
But you can see, and I've heard it from other people since we've been here, like Lamar, his voice as a leader already. You're seeing it. Tucker, obviously, his voice, and he knows you, and he knows your system, so he can help a lot of these guys. I just feel like that's one thing that's so important these days because you don't have a lot of, how many great leaders are there right now in college basketball? There aren't a lot of them.
Yeah, and I don't know everybody else's team, but and we're not a team that picks captains either. We kind of let that leadership just come organically, and everybody leads in different ways. Some guys are loud and they use their voices. Other guys lead with their effort and the way they come and approach practice every day. But I love the mix we have and the leadership we're getting. We have a lot of old guys. This year's really important to them. They want to make the most of it, and they've approached it that way.
Listen, Darren, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us here. We appreciate you letting us into your practice. It's always fun to see how you guys operate. When we get back, we're going to hear from a number of the players on Darren's roster, including his son Tucker. We're going to try to figure out where D-Rock came from. We're going to ask Tucker DeVries that when we get back.